Welcome, friends, to the February 2024 edition of Reset and Restore, where we're just going to take a little bit of time to slow down and calm our nervous systems as we prepare for whatever's next in our lives. So, for today's class, I invite you to grab any props that you would like to use. I'll be propping with 2 blocks. Other options, if you don't have blocks, are anything that'll help raise the floor up to your level. That could be soup cans, that could be books. And then I've also got a blanket here that I'll use to cushion my seat. And you can use blanket, towel, anything that would be comfortable for you. So let's go ahead and get started in a comfortable seated position. I'm going to go ahead and prop my hips up with a blanket here. So just taking a moment to settle into your position, wiggling around, making any adjustments that you'd like to make. We'll just spend a few moments here in the seated position, getting ready to practice together. So if it feels comfortable and safe for you, let's allow the eyes to close for a couple of moments as we connect to our bodies and connect to our breath as the starting point for our class today. Exhaling completely and then breathing deeply in, filling the belly, filling the lungs with fresh oxygen before slowly letting that breath go. And again, breathing deeply in, filling it up, maybe the biggest breath you've taken all day. And as you slowly let this breath go, can you relax somewhere in the body? Let something go along with the breath. And then once more, breathing deeply in. And slowly letting that breath go. And now, releasing that pattern of breathing, allowing your breath to resume its natural rhythm. Just taking a second to scan through the body from head to toe and notice if there are any areas of the body that feel stiff or sore or uncomfortable. Taking notes and being extra super gentle and aware with those areas of the body today. And now let's begin to awaken through the fingers and the toes, blink the eyes open, and we'll get ready to begin our physical practice here. So we'll just begin by warming up the spine a little bit. Let's start with the neck, dropping chin to chest and rolling right ear to right shoulder, coming through center, left ear to left shoulder, moving through this motion a few times, letting the neck release, wake up, get a little bit of lubrication between those cervical spine vertebrae. And then releasing that pattern, let's roll the shoulders back a few times and then forward a few times. And then inhale the arms up to the sky, look up, and exhale, arching the spine, reaching forward, growing long through the spine like you're carving over a big beach ball. And then inhaling, coming back to the sky. And from here, we'll drop left hand to the floor and reach up and over with the right arm. Maybe turning to look up past that elbow if it feels good on the neck here. And as we move into this part of our practice, I invite you to set an intention to really slow down and go within. And inhaling through the center, exhaling right hand to the floor, and inhaling that left arm up and over, letting that left hip remain quite heavy on the mat or on your blanket. You might turn to look up past your shoulder if that feels good. Reconnecting with the breath here. And then inhaling back to center. Let's now bring our hands to the knees and move through a little bit of seated cat-cow. So first, let's exhale and tuck the tail, tuck the chin, and then inhale, tip the tail backward, open the heart forward and look up. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And moving through that just a couple more times on your own rhythm as we awaken the spine here. Staying connected with the breath, allowing the breath to guide us and let us know how we're doing in terms of intensity, and letting that go. Let's now bring right hand to the outside of the left knee, and then we can bring that left hand to the side of the body or maybe behind us, drawing the spine up quite long, turning to look over that left shoulder, gently twisting here. If you start to lose contact with the breath, or you're breathing heavily or the breath feels strained, that might be a signal that the intensity is a little bit higher than the body is ready for in your practice. So let's pay attention and stay connected with that breath. Let it be our guide here. And then coming back through center, spine long, and then bringing left hand to the outside of the right knee. That right hand can come beside you or behind you. And then we'll just very gently turn to look over that right shoulder. Staying connected with that breath, breathing deeply, and coming back through center. And from here, let's widen our legs, plant our feet flat on the floor. Our feet can be a little bit wider than hip width. And from here, we're going to do a little bit of hip mobility work. So let's drop both our knees to the left. So we are in a little bit of this 90-90 position here. Turning to face the knee. And then we'll come back through center. And then drop both knees to the right. Bringing that chest to face the right knee. And let's move through that a couple more times, lubricating through the hip joints, opening up through the low back. And we'll go once more on each side. And the next time we cycle through, we're just gonna spend a little bit of time there to see if we can invite those hips to open just a little more. So coming back to the left, drawing the spine up really long here, thinking about the chest facing directly towards that left knee. And then if you'd like, you can begin to walk forward and get a little bit of a forward fold here, getting more deeply into that left hip, the glute med, gluteus medius, maybe even a little bit of the IT band on the outside of the upper leg, running from the hip to the knee. Breathing deeply into that hip, breathing deeply into sensation. Staying connected with that breath. And then we'll press up and come through the center. And we'll do that on the second side. So arranging ourselves so that we're facing our chest directly towards that right knee. And then after drawing the spine up quite long, we'll begin to walk the fingers forward. Coming down as far as feels good. No need to come all the way down. You could certainly have straight arms here, or you could even bring a block or two with you to raise the floor up. Working with your body right where it is today. And just breathing into that hip, staying connected with the breath. Nice. Releasing that, coming through center. And from here, let's just bring the soles of our feet together. Our heels can be close into the glutes or they can be out quite far, really creating the space that feels good for you here. And from here, grabbing the knees or the shins, ankles, or the feet as you draw the spine up long. If it feels like your knees are really hanging up in the middle of the air and you want a little support, this is a great place for blocks. And then we'll begin to fold, hinge forward from the hips, as if we could bring our chest all the way to the toes. I don't expect that we're actually going to do that, but that's the idea. It's the aim to help us with our alignment. Breathing into those hips, breathing into that low back. You might find a little movement here if that feels good. Sometimes it can feel nice to flutter the knees a little bit to help lubricate and move in the low back and the hips. So really making this practice your own here. Exploring your body. And for the last few breaths, if you'd like to deepen the posture, walking forward just a little more. Nice. And we'll let that go. And from here, let's widen our knees, our legs. If this is hard on your hamstrings, bending the knees is always a great option. You could even bring blocks under the knees to support them while they're bent. So letting the legs come wide, only as wide as feels comfortable. It doesn't have to be acrobatic in any way. We'll just walk our fingers forward until we reach to or toward our toes, bending forward. You might rock a little from side to side. You might walk from one side to the other, finding a sweet spot for you. Opening up through the back line of the body. And in the yogic tradition, it is taught that forward folds are calming for the mind. So perhaps thinking about this moment, this body, this breath, allowing the mind to settle into the practice. All right, and let's bring it back up. And from here, if you've got any props around you, I recommend moving them out of the way. Before we move on to all fours, I'm going to go ahead and take my blanket with me for a little added cushion underneath my knees. So from here, let's find ourselves in tabletop position. Knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders, drawing the spine long, tip of the head away from the tail. And then we'll inhale and drop the belly, tipping the hips up, looking up, cow. Exhale, tuck the tail, tuck the chin, arch the spine, cat. Inhale to cow. Exhaling through cat, really doming up through the shoulder blades. And once more, Exhale, cow. Inhale, cat. And then coming back to tabletop. Let's now take the right hand and thread it behind the left wrist, bringing that right shoulder to or toward the mat, right temple to or toward the mat. And then lean over a little bit to the right side to get a deeper stretch behind the shoulder blade. You could stay here, or if you'd like, you could walk that left hand out to the top of the mat. Connecting with the breath, breathing deeply. And then we'll bring that left hand in, plant it, press up through table, and then thread that left hand behind the right wrist, bringing left shoulder, left temple to the mat, leaning over to the left side a little bit, and then walking, if you like, those right fingertips forward. Breathing into sensation. Noticing whether the second side is different from the first side. Quite often it will be. Staying connected with that breath. And then bringing right hand beneath right shoulder, pressing up to table. Just taking a moment to notice how that feels. And from here, let's step the left foot forward. Both of our hands are still beneath our shoulders. And from here, let's sweep the left arm up and back, reaching back toward the toes. And then sweep it back to the front. And sweep up and back once more. And back to the front. And one more time, sweeping arm up and back and reaching for just a moment here. And coming back to the front of the mat, planting both hands. And from here, let's walk our left foot out to the edge of the mat. Turn the foot about 45 degrees. And then let that knee fall open. And then adjust until it feels good. You might make little circles with the hips. You might walk, rock, whatever feels good in this version of a lizard pose here as you get into the hips a little bit. And then we'll bring that foot back beneath our hip, returning to table for just a moment. And then stepping right foot forward, planting both of those hands on the mat. And then sweeping right arm up and back, and up and forward, up and back, and up and forward, and one more time, up and back, and up and forward. This time let's hold it, reaching to the back for just a moment. Nice. And then returning to the front, walking that right foot out to the edge, finding that 45-degree angle, and then letting the knee fall open. And then again, taking any motions, any movements that feel good, maybe circling the hips, maybe rocking or walking your hands from one side to the other, or settling into just a moment here in your lizard pose, opening up the hips. And then we'll return that knee back beneath the hip for tabletop. And from here, we'll lower onto the belly. Let's stack the hands in front of us and rest our forehead on the stacked hands like a little pillow. And from here, we'll bend our right knee so that our right toes are pointing up at the ceiling. And then lift the toes up and over so that you're twisting into scorpion pose. So your right toes are resting on the mat or the floor outside of your left hip. Holding this for a moment. And then coming back through center. Bending now the left knee, left toes pointed toward the ceiling. Lifting those left toes up and over, placing them outside of the right thigh on the floor. Continuing to open up through the spine. And coming back through center. Let's do that once more on each side. Bending right knee, right toes point to the sky, and then lifting the right foot up and over, planting outside of the left thigh. And coming back through center. Bending left knee, left toes point up to the sky, and lifting that left foot up and over, resting outside of the right thigh. And coming back through center, letting it go. And from here, we'll bring hands beneath the shoulders, pressing up through our tabletop position. And then we'll move onto our backs. So moving any props out of your way. And finding your way into a reclined position. From here, just taking any movements that feel intuitive, that would feel good for you, maybe bringing the knees to the chest and rocking back and forth a couple of times. And if you haven't already done so, let's bend those knees toward the chest. And then we'll let both knees drop over to the right side. Outstretching the left arm, turning to look over that left shoulder. Gentle twist, gentle opening. Breathing deeply, staying connected. And then coming back through center, hugging those knees into the chest. And then dropping both knees to the left side. Outstretching right arm, turning to look over right shoulder. Connecting to breath. Coming back through center, hugging those knees in, and then letting both feet fall to the mat. Let's now cross the right knee over the left knee, right thigh over the left thigh, and then again draw the knees into the chest, holding the knees, pulling them in, getting a little bit of an extra stretch on the outer right hip. This might be plenty for you. If you'd like more, you can walk your hands down to the feet and pull the feet in towards yourself for whale's tail. Breathing into sensation, breathing into the opening. And releasing the feet if you've got them, hugging the knees into the chest, and then dropping left foot to the mat. And we'll switch it out, stepping the left knee over the right knee, or the left thigh over the right thigh, And then drawing that whole shape in toward the chest, holding the knees, or if you like, walking those hands down to the feet, holding the outer edges of the feet, drawing the feet in towards the body for whale's tail. Breathing into sensation. And letting that go. Releasing, bringing feet to the mat. And then bringing the soles of the feet together, letting the knees fall apart for a reclined bound angle. Beginning to rest here. Allowing the hips to relax, allowing the belly to relax, allowing the feet and the hands to relax. Maybe even closing the eyes. Feeling the weight of the body heavy on the mat here. Feeling those points of contact with the ground and the earth beneath it. The earth holding you up, supporting you right where you are. Can you melt into your mat a little bit more, release a little bit more tension? Enjoying these last few moments on the mat together, taking this opportunity to really slow down and go inside, checking in with yourself. Reconnecting with the breath and reconnecting with the body. Noticing the breath as it enters and exits the body here. And then as you're ready, beginning to stretch the arms and legs long on the mat. Breathing deeply and then letting it go. Drawing knees into the chest, maybe rocking side to side. And then turning to your favorite side. Pausing for just a moment in this transitional time for pressing yourself up to a seated position. And we'll end here together, drawing the spine up long, bringing one hand to the heart and another hand to the heart. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice today. I'm wishing you a wonderful day. Take good care.